My mother-in-law told my husband, choose me or that woman. He packed my bags while I was at work, not knowing I just inherited $40 million from my grandma. Hello dear ones. Please subscribe, comment a quick hi, and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's continue this journey together. I stood outside my own house, staring at 3 suitcases on the porch like they were props in someone else's nightmare. My hands trembled as I touched the familiar purple luggage, the set Jared bought me for our honeymoon 3 years ago. The irony wasn't lost on me. Jared. I called out, pushing the door open. The house was silent except for muffled voices upstairs. My heart hammered as I climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. I found him in our bedroom with his mother, Lorraine, standing beside him like a general surveying conquered territory. The closet doors hung open, my side completely empty. My dresser drawers pulled out, barren. Even my grandmother's quilt was gone from our bed. What's happening? My voice cracked, barely above a whisper. Jared couldn't meet my eyes. After 5 years together, 2 dating, 3 married, he suddenly found the carpet fascinating. Lorraine, however, looked directly at me with those cold gray eyes I'd learned to fear. He made his choice, she said, crossing her arms. Finally. Jared. I searched his face for the man I'd loved, the one who promised me forever under that oak tree in his parents' backyard. Talk to me. Please. He cleared his throat, still not looking up. Mom needs me, Tasha. She's been sick and... I gave him an ultimatum, Lorraine interrupted, her voice sharp as broken glass. Me or that woman. A man's duty is to his mother first. I raised him alone after his father died. I sacrificed everything. The room spun. That woman. After 3 years of Sunday dinners, birthday gifts, and biting my tongue through countless passive-aggressive comments, I was still just that woman. You can't be serious, I said, looking between them. Jared, we're married. We took vows. Lorraine stepped closer, her perfume, that expensive floral scent she wore like armor, filling the space between us. Vows don't trump blood. I've been having chest pains, severe ones. The doctors say stress is making it worse. And you, Tasha, you stress her out constantly. I stress you out? The words exploded from me. I've done nothing but try to make you happy. I changed our wedding date for you. I let you redecorate our living room. I even quit my job at the law firm when you said Jared needed a wife who could host proper dinners. Jared finally looked at me, and what I saw broke something fundamental inside. Guilt, yes. Regret, maybe. But also resignation. He'd already decided. You don't understand the sacrifice she made, he said quietly. Dad died when I was 12. She worked 3 jobs. She gave up dating, her social life, everything for me. So did my grandmother raise me after my parents died. I shot back. But I didn't use that as a weapon against you. Don't you dare compare yourself to me, Lorraine hissed. You had money. Your grandmother had that big house, those connections. I had nothing. I laughed bitterly. Money? Grandma Rose cleaned houses for a living. That big house was a 2-bedroom rental. But she loved me unconditionally. She never made me choose between her and someone I loved. The mention of my grandmother brought fresh pain. She'd passed away 8 months ago, and the grief still felt raw. She would have known what to do. He always did. Jared touched my arm and I jerked away. Tasha, please. Mom's doctor said. I don't care what he said. My voice broke. You're choosing her over your wife? Yes, Lorraine answered for him. He is. I stared at Jared, really looked at him, seeing clearly for perhaps the first time. The weak chin he hid with that beard. The way he always deferred to his mother's opinion on everything from what car to buy to what color to paint the bathroom. How had I been so blind? Say it, I whispered. If this is really happening, Jared, you look me in the eyes and say it. He finally met my gaze and I watched my husband disappear, replaced by Lorraine's son. I need you to leave, Tasha. Mom's moving in here. She can't live alone anymore, and this house is big enough for her. This house. My laugh was hollow. This house that I helped buy. I put down half the down payment with the money Grandma Rose gave us. And Jared made every mortgage payment since. Lorraine interjected smoothly. You haven't worked in a year. You've been living off my son. The accusation stung because it held a grain of truth twisted into something ugly. I'd quit my paralegal job at Jared's request. His mother's request, really disguised as his concern. A man should provide for his wife, Lorraine had said over Sunday dinner. It's embarrassing when people ask what you do, Jared, and have to explain your wife works longer hours than you. I'd resisted at first. I loved my job, loved the independence, the purpose. But Jared had worn me down with promises. We're trying for a baby anyway, he'd said. You'll want to be home then. Why not start now? I got that promotion. We'll be fine. Fool that I was, I'd believed him. Believed in us. I want a divorce, I said, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. Lorraine smiled. Actually smiled. Jared's lawyer already drew up the papers. You'll sign them, leave quietly, and we can all move forward. I grabbed the suitcases and threw them in my car, a 10-year-old Honda that Jared always criticized. When are you getting a decent car? He'd say. It reflects on me. Now I was grateful for that old, reliable Honda. At least it was completely mine. I drove to my best friend Keisha's apartment across town, my vision blurring with tears. She took one look at me and pulled me inside. He chose her, I said, and saying it out loud made it real. The tears came then, ugly and raw. Keisha held me while I shattered. Later, after the crying subsided into hiccups, we sat on her couch with ice cream neither of us was eating. I should have seen this coming, I said. The signs were all there. Don't you dare blame yourself, Keisha said fiercely. She'd never liked Jared, though she'd been supportive for my sake. That man is a coward and his mother is a manipulative witch. I told her everything. The empty closet, the packed bags, Lorraine's cold smile. She looked so satisfied, Kay. Like she'd won some game I didn't even know we were playing. My phone buzzed. A text from Jared. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. Sign the papers. Mom's lawyer says we can have this done quickly. Mom's lawyer, I read aloud. Not even our lawyer. Her lawyer. Keisha grabbed my phone. You need your own lawyer. Tomorrow we're finding you the best divorce attorney in the city. Natasha. He squeezed my hand. You're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're free of those toxic people. But I didn't feel free. I felt hollowed out, like someone had scooped out everything essential and left just a shell. I couldn't sleep that night. At 3 a.m. I sat at Keisha's kitchen table, scrolling through wedding photos on my phone. There was Jared smiling at me like I was his whole world. There was Lorraine in the front row, her expression tight. How had I missed the warning signs? My email pinged. A message from a law firm I didn't recognize. Subject: Estate of Rosemarie Thompson, urgent. My grandmother's full name. My heart lurched. I opened it with shaking hands. The lawyer, Mr. Patterson, requested an immediate meeting regarding my grandmother's estate. Time-sensitive matters require your attention, he wrote. Please call first thing Monday morning. Monday was 3 days away. I'd been to the will reading 8 months ago, a small, sad affair. Grandma Rose had left me her jewelry, some savings bonds, and her blessing. Nothing that warranted an urgent meeting now. Unless my grandmother's words came back to me, something she'd said a week before the stroke that killed her. We'd been sorting through her attic and she'd paused, holding an old photo of herself as a young woman. Tasha, baby, I need to tell you something important. But then Jared had called, insisting I come home for dinner with his mother. Don't keep her waiting, he'd said. I'd left, promising Grandma Rose we'd talk later. We never did. I stared at the email, a strange feeling building in my chest. Grandma Rose had always been full of surprises. She'd worked as a housekeeper, yes, but she'd been brilliant with money. I pay attention, she'd say. I listen. Rich people talk freely around the help, and I learned. Could there be more to her estate than I'd known? The question kept me awake until dawn painted Keisha's kitchen window gold. Monday morning I sat in Mr. Patterson's office, a sleek space overlooking the city. He was an older black man with kind eyes and an expensive suit that spoke of serious success. Miss Thompson, he began, sliding a folder across his mahogany desk. I apologize for the delay in contacting you. Your grandmother had very specific instructions about when certain information could be revealed. What kind of information? My voice sounded small in the large office. Your grandmother was a remarkable woman. She worked for the Whitmore family for 35 years. Do you know them? I shook my head. Grandma Rose had rarely discussed her employers. The Whitmores made their fortune in real estate and investments. Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore and your grandmother became close friends over the years, unusual for that time in those circumstances. He paused, watching me carefully. When Mrs. Whitmore died 15 years ago, she left your grandmother a substantial sum in gratitude for decades of loyalty and friendship. $5 million. The room tilted. $5 million. Your grandmother was a financial genius, Miss Thompson. She invested wisely, lived modestly, and that $5 million became something far more substantial. She wanted you to inherit only after you'd lived your own life, made your own choices, understood the value of work and struggle. He opened the folder. As of today, the estate is worth $40,300,000. I couldn't breathe. The numbers on the page blurred. $40 million. $40 million. She also left you this letter to be delivered only at this meeting. He handed me an envelope and I recognized Grandma Rose's elegant handwriting. To my Tasha, when you need me most. My hands trembled as I opened the envelope. Grandma Rose's handwriting. The same script that had labeled my school lunch bags and signed my permission slips, filled the page. My dearest Tasha. Asterisk, if you're reading this, Mr. Patterson has judged the time is right. That likely means you're facing something difficult. I wish I could be there, but since I can't, let my words guide you. Asterisk. Asterisk, I never told you about the money because I needed you to know your worth wasn't tied to it. You had to build your own strength, your own identity, your own life. Money can be a test of character, baby girl, both for who has it and who wants it. Asterisk. Asterisk, by now, you know about the $40 million. Yes, 40. I've been investing since Eleanor Whitmore's gift, learning, growing it. This is your inheritance, but more importantly, it's your freedom. Freedom to choose who you want to be, who you want to love, what you want to do. Asterisk. Asterisk, don't let anyone make you small. Don't let anyone's opinion of you become your opinion of yourself. You are brilliant, kind, and strong. Everything I prayed you'd become when your parents left us too soon. Asterisk. Asterisk, trust yourself. Trust your instincts. And remember, people show you who they are. Believe them. Asterisk. Asterisk, I love you to the moon and back, my sweet girl. Now go live the life you deserve. Asterisk. Forever yours, Grandma Rose. I sat in that office and cried, not sad tears this time, but something else. Relief. Validation. The bone-deep knowledge that I'd been loved so profoundly that even death couldn't stop my grandmother from protecting me. She knew, I whispered. Somehow she knew I'd need this. Mr. Patterson smiled gently. Rose was remarkably perceptive. She updated her instructions 6 months before she passed. She said, when my Tasha comes to you looking broken, that's when she needs to know she's actually whole. I left Mr. Patterson's office with a new bank account, a new perspective, and a burning need for revenge. No, not revenge. Justice. Dignity. The chance to show Jared and Lorraine exactly what they'd thrown away. Keisha screamed when I told her. Actually screamed right there in her living room. 40 million? Girl, your grandma was a secret mogul. She was so much more than I knew, I said, still processing. All those years living simply, working hard, investing quietly. She played the long game. So what are you going to do? Keisha's eyes gleamed. Please tell me you're going to make them suffer. I thought about it. The old Tasha, the one who'd arrived on Keisha's doorstep 3 days ago, would have wanted to burst into Jared's house, throw money in their faces, watch them realize their mistake. But Grandma Rose's letter had awakened something different in me. I'm going to live well, I said slowly. But first I'm going to make sure they understand exactly what they lost. Not the money, me. I called a lawyer that afternoon. Not just any lawyer, but Christine Morrison, the city's most feared divorce attorney. Her consultation fee alone was $5,000. I booked it without hesitation. Christine was a sharp-featured woman in her 50s with silver hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Tell me everything," she said. I did. The ultimatum, the packed bags, Jared's weakness, Lorraine's manipulation. When I finished, Christine leaned back in her chair, a slow smile spreading across her face. "Oh, we're going to enjoy this," she said. "Tell me, does Jared know about your inheritance?" "Nobody does. The will reading 8 months ago only covered her personal effects. This was separate, managed by a different firm." "Perfect. Let's keep it that way." Christine's strategy was surgical. First, we let Jared think he had the upper hand. I signed his papers. Or rather, papers that looked like his papers but were actually Christine's version, protecting every asset I'd contributed to the marriage and then some. "He won't read them carefully," Christine predicted. "Men like Jared assume women will just go along." His mistake. He was right. 2 days later, Jared texted, "Thanks for being reasonable about this. Mom's lawyer says everything's in order." I stared at that text, marveling at the audacity. Thanks for being reasonable. Like I should be grateful he was discarding me with such efficiency. But I waited. Christine was building a case, documenting everything. The coercion, the financial manipulation, Lorraine's interference. "In this state, emotional duress is grounds to contest a divorce settlement," she explained. "We're going to prove he forced you out under false pretenses while you were grieving your grandmother." The real confrontation came 3 weeks later. Christine had arranged a mediation meeting, standard procedure. Jared arrived with Lorraine and their lawyer, a nervous-looking man who clearly wasn't prepared for Christine Morrison. Jared looked shocked when he saw me walk in with Christine. "I thought we already settled this," he said. "You thought wrong," Christine replied smoothly. "My client was coerced into leaving her marital home under emotional duress. We're here to discuss the real settlement." Lorraine's face went pale. "We had an agreement. You had papers signed under duress by a grieving woman whose husband chose his mother over his wife," Christine said coldly. "Those papers are worth nothing. Let's discuss what Tasha actually deserves." I watched Jared squirm, and for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt powerful. The mediation lasted 4 hours. Christine systematically destroyed every assumption Jared and Lorraine had made. The house I'd helped purchase? I was entitled to half its value. The furniture? I had receipts for 60% of it. My career sacrifice? That required compensation. Your client quit her job at your request, Christine told their lawyer, sliding over documentation. Text messages, emails, all suggesting Mr. Williams and his mother pressured Ms. Thompson to leave her career. In this state, that's considered economic coercion. Jared's face grew redder with each revelation. This is ridiculous. Tasha agreed to everything. Because you made her think she had no choice. I finally spoke, my voice strong. You and your mother systematically isolated me, made me financially dependent, then discarded me the moment I wasn't useful anymore. Lorraine stood abruptly. How dare you? After everything we... Sit down, Mrs. Williams, Christine's voice cut like ice. Your interference in your son's marriage is well documented. The chest pains? We have medical records showing you've claimed various ailments whenever Jared's attention strayed from you. Your own doctor noted possible factitious disorder in your file. The color drained from Lorraine's face. Jared looked at his mother with dawning horror. Mom, you lied about being sick. The stress was real. Lorraine stammered. She was taking you away from me. I'm your son, not your husband. Jared exploded. Something in him finally cracked. Dad's been dead for 20 years. 20 years, and you've never let me have a life. I watched the unraveling with strange detachment. Part of me had loved this man. That part ached watching him realize what his mother had done. But a larger part, the part Grandma Rose had nurtured, knew I deserved so much more. The mediation ended with Jared agreeing to Christine's terms. He'd keep the house but pay me $200,000 for my equity and lost career opportunities. It was fair, and more importantly, it was final. As we gathered our papers to leave, Lorraine grabbed my arm. You're destroying my family, she hissed. I looked at her hand on my arm, then directly into her eyes. You destroyed your family, Lorraine. You raised a man so afraid of disappointing you that he couldn't be a real partner to anyone. You've been playing house with your son because you couldn't move on from your husband's death. That's not love. That's possession. She slapped me. The sound echoed in the conference room. Christine immediately stepped between us, her phone already recording. Assault. Perfect. That'll look wonderful in our restraining order application. Jared pulled his mother back, looking devastated. For a moment I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Tasha, wait, he called as I headed for the door. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was trying to keep everyone happy and I made a mistake. I turned back. You didn't make a mistake, Jared. You made a choice. You chose someone who manipulated you over someone who loved you. You chose comfort over courage. And you know what? I'm grateful. Grateful. He looked bewildered. My grandmother used to say people show you who they are. You showed me exactly who you are, Jared. You saved me years of disappointment. Years of wondering why I was never quite enough, never quite as important as your mother's feelings. You set me free. I walked out with Christine, leaving them in that conference room with their dysfunction and regrets. You handled that beautifully, Christine said in the elevator. I had a good teacher, I replied, thinking of Grandma Rose. 3 months later I sat in my new apartment, a penthouse overlooking the city with floor-to-ceiling windows and space that felt like freedom. I'd furnished it carefully, each piece chosen because I loved it, not because it matched someone else's vision. Keisha was there, naturally helping me hang artwork. Have you decided what you're going to do with the money? She asked. I'd been thinking about that since Mr. Patterson's office. I'm starting a foundation, I said. For women leaving difficult marriages or relationships. Legal fees, housing assistance, career counseling. Everything I needed but had to fight for. Grandma Rose would love that, Keisha said softly. I'd also done something else. Something that felt right. I'd tracked down Mrs. Whitmore's surviving family and given them $1 million. Your mother changed my grandmother's life, I'd told the confused but grateful daughter. This is paying that forward. My phone rang. Mr. Patterson. Miss Thompson, I thought you'd want to know. Jared Williams attempted to contest the divorce settlement, claiming he didn't know about your inheritance. My heart sank. Can he do that? He tried. His lawyer argued you'd withheld material information. But here's where your grandmother's planning becomes brilliant. The inheritance wasn't yours until after the divorce was filed. You literally couldn't have disclosed it because you didn't have legal access to it yet. The timing was Rose's final gift to you. I laughed through sudden tears. She really did think of everything. She loved you very much, Mr. Patterson said gently. And she was right about you. You're using this money exactly as she hoped, to build something meaningful. That night I stood at my windows looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Jared was probably arguing with Lorraine about money or blame or all the ways I'd wronged them. But I wasn't thinking about them anymore. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, the Rose Marie Thompson Foundation officially opened its doors. We'd helped 37 women in our first month alone. Legal fees, temporary housing, job training, therapy. Each woman who walked through our doors carried the same look I'd had on Keisha's couch. Broken but not destroyed, hurt but not defeated. I met a woman named Angela who reminded me of myself. Her husband had isolated her, quit her job, made her dependent, then left her with nothing. I don't know who I am anymore, she'd whispered. I took her hands. You're about to find out. And it's going to be amazing. I never saw Jared again after that final mediation. I heard through mutual friends that he'd moved with Lorraine to another state, starting over. Part of me hoped he'd find peace, learn to set boundaries, become the man he could have been. But that wasn't my concern anymore. Keisha and I were at the foundation's office when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I opened it. It was from Jared. Just 2 words, I'm sorry. I stared at those words for a long time, feeling nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no lingering pain. Just the quiet knowledge that some apologies come too late to matter. I deleted the message and looked around at the office, at the photos of women we'd helped, at Keisha laughing with our newest counselor, at the life I'd built from the ashes of my marriage. Grandma Rose's portrait hung on the wall, her slight smile seeming to say, "I told you so, baby girl." "You ready?" Keisha called. "That interview with the news station is in an hour. They want to talk about the foundation's expansion." I grabbed my jacket, designer now, something I'd bought because I loved it, not because I was trying to impress anyone. "Ready." As we headed out, I caught my reflection in the glass doors. The woman looking back at me was someone Grandma Rose would recognize. Strong, purposeful, unafraid. Someone who'd been broken and rebuilt herself into something better. Jared had given me an ultimatum thinking it was an ending. But it was actually a beginning. The start of understanding my worth, my strength, my ability to survive anything. The betrayal had hurt. The loss had gutted me. But Grandma Rose had been right. People show you who they are, and in breaking me, Jared had actually freed me. I stepped into the sunshine, ready to help other women discover the same truth. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the doorway to your best life. You just have to be brave enough to walk through it. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share your own experiences in the comments. Remember, you're never trapped and your worth isn't defined by anyone who can't see it. Stay strong and don't forget to hit that notification bell for more empowering stories.